Hello there, my name is Linda, also known as Tortagialla around the internet. I love creative journaling and all things stationery, and this is another episode of my journal show and tell series. I'm basically going through my collection of old journals and deciding whether I will be archiving, recycling, or upcycling them. So I am sharing a flip here to share with you, as well as having a digital copy for memories. So this is an A4 sized art journal that I made myself with a piece of black leather, and I cut out like a heart to make the little closure, and the inside just basically has some yellow cardstock to give the leather like a little bit of stiffness. And then I sewed in Fabriano painting paper, so it's pretty thick and like rigid pieces of paper inside. And in the beginning, I think I made this in 2013, but I didn't really use it very much. And it wasn't until 2018, 2019 when I took the Life Book art journaling class by Willowing that I started to fill up the pages. So you can see to begin with here, when you first open it up, I just have some doodling artwork on the left hand side that I pasted in, and like an opening page of collage and paint. And I think this spread here was one of the first ones I actually did for the Life Book class. It's very much like mixed media style, using collage and then paints and a mix of materials, pens, pencils, and all that kind of stuff combined. And on this next spread, these are like two separate pieces where the left hand side is like making a hummingbird with drawing and painting, but also like the wings are sort of like collaged papers. And on the right hand side is supposed to be a portrait. um, it's, I'm not great in terms of real life drawing and things like that, but I tried. And this here is more of like a cartooning sort of doodling lesson. And so sometimes I will just take what I want from the lessons. I don't always create like a full art piece from start to finish. It just depends on what I feel like. So I guess this is sort of like sketchbook slash art journal. So you can see from here there is a date from like 2013. So I'm pretty sure I created this like a while back and like used it a little bit, but then not really. And then I had gone over it when I was taking this Life Book class and covered up parts that I didn't like and just tried to fill up all the pages and actually use this A4 sized notebook. But here you can see I also tipped in other little tidbits of like art pieces that I use, because sometimes I would create something on like a separate sheet of paper, so I would just tape them in. But there are probably things from the Life Book class, but also just like drawing, sketchings, and things. This I think is from the Life Book class. So from the left hand side, it's like sort of like a portrait with like the aura and like words, and just playing with paints and colors and words, and it's sort of like art journaling therapy kind of thing. And the right hand side is just collage with papers. I think I have this in another journal too, this drawing sketch that I did for a magazine, and just printouts of quotes and phrases that I like, and printouts like that are sort of scrapbooky. On the right hand side here is this printout from one of my Pinterest boards, for inspiration. So I must have printed that out and included it in there. And here, more inspiration tidbits on the left hand side where I'm just pasting it into the page, which I realize now maybe is not very good use of this paper because the paper is very thick for like mixed media. On the right hand side is journaling, and I was following one of the Life Book lessons for that one. Here, there's like some cool wrapping paper that I really liked, and so I was trying to like mimic the tiles. On the right hand side is a very unfinished piece. I think I must have started on something in drawing these flowers, but you can see that it doesn't really look totally finished, because I must have not finished it. Here is a spread of just doodling. And I did put like some tidbits of watercolor, but I did not finish this either, probably. Like it's not finished. Here on the left hand side is another mixed media piece where there's a lot of like collage underneath, and then it's like painted over, drawn over, and then pens and things like that to put color and the words on top. So definitely very mixed media there. Here on the right, I tipped in just like a watercolor sketchy kind of thing. More watercolor and doodling. And the right hand side here, my very classic, like girly, doodly drawings. So I don't know if this is for a class or if I was just drawing something. I actually do not remember. The next one here, this is another doodle and watercolor of the little birdie. And on the right hand side, I think that is from the mixed media class. And you can tell that the life book, like most of the lessons are like very mixed media, so you can sort of tell. But you can see that the paint has just gotten all over the place and transferred over to the left page, so that was not a great matchup in terms of what I did on the left side and what I did on the right hand side. I always have this issue where like I do like and enjoy creating mixed media stuff, but I don't like the messiness, I guess, afterwards of the result. So you can see here, this is a whole spread where I must have done something and I didn't like it and I was covering it up. And it's just like a huge mess of paint. And then I have this extra sheet here, which was some collage, like rainbows, just cutting out a piece of paper. And maybe I thought I was going to put it on this page, but I don't really know. But I did do some drawing on this messy paint, but again, unfinished because the drawing that I did on top, which are supposed to be like figures, I don't know if you can even tell there, but I must not have finished it off. And this whole cake cutout collage might have been a different lesson that I did on a separate piece of paper, and then I just slipped it in. Here, the next page, more mixed media using like book pages, paint, colors, and then like blacking out, silhouette shapes. And, it's sort of cool, like playing around with effects and things like that and paints. And, I don't know if it's necessarily finished, but, it's there. And here's another one where I painted and then I put the book page on top and I was just doing marks and collage and things, but yeah, very unfinished. So I'm not sure what happened or what was that meant to be. And this next page here on the left-hand side, that is more of like a finished, almost like title page, and sort of similar to like the very front, sort of supposed to be like a title page. Very mixed media, like collage first, then paint over, then stamping, stenciling, adding little tidbits. And the right hand side, I started like painting sort of like a birdie or something, but again, did not finish because a lot of the painting type of lessons, they do require drying time, and sometimes I would get back to it, but sometimes I would just it wouldn't get to the next step. Here we have like a galaxy watercolor kind of page, and on the right hand side, more doodling and watercolor. And I suppose watercolor is a little bit easier when it comes to like drying times and stuff. Maybe because when I use acrylics and stuff, I just slap on a bit too much paint, so it just takes forever to dry. So this is watercolor doodlings, and here's another two more sort of like portraity kind of things that is also watercolor, but still unfinished. Because if you were to follow the lessons by Willowing, and I think she's on YouTube as well from like many years back. But she definitely has this distinct style of like collaging and drawing on the stuff and then like really finishing it off with colored pencils and doing all the details. And I sort of like never get to that point. So here's another one where I'm like drawing this little bear, and I just didn't continue. Obviously, I don't know if that was uninspired or something. On the right hand side, it's supposed to be like mermaid tail kind of thing. So like it was fun to play with the colors and try to create some kind of texture or something. But again, unfinished. These are just sort of like sketchy. So again, more like trying to do portrait sketchiness. On the right hand side, watercoloring kind of. And yeah, just very unfinished. Here's a whole spread of just crazy thick paint. You can see the paper definitely holds up, but yeah, it's very thick layer of paint because I'm just playing with the colors and smushing and getting that texture. And I think it's supposed to be like a mummy kind of girl kind of thing. But yeah, I just got to this point and it was just sort of like, I don't know what to do now, and like never really finished it. Like I said, I really do like the process of playing around with paint, but yeah, I have a really hard time, quote unquote, like finishing a piece, and for it to be considered like a finished piece. On this spread here, it was totally just playing with mark making, like completely. India inks, using Q-tips, like weird, non-traditional tools, like instead of a paintbrush and things like that, like other things, to make marks and see how it comes out and what you can do. And I think I put like a quote there in that little journal card in that spot. But yeah, it's very messy, crazy, because it was more just that process of playing with different tools and inks and seeing how, like, what types of marks and textures you can come up with. This spread here is acrylic painting of sort of like abstracty, doodly graffiti style. So it's, again, it's not very, I don't know if it's totally finished. I mean, more so, I definitely do like the background. I especially like the upper left hand corner part with the pink and like with the blue and things like that in that background. So it does have a very cool look. I like it, with the black outline and stuff, but I don't, again, it's not, I just got up to this point and then I was sort of done, even though I might look at it now and feel like it's not really complete, like it doesn't have all the details and finishing touches to say that it's complete. This spread, I think, is actually from a completely different class. Maybe it was from Get Messy, or maybe it was from Lifebook. I don't know. But it was something about creating a wheel with emotions or like words in it. And so I was painting it with watercolor. And on the right hand side, I did just like another shape because I might have wanted to scan it and put it in digitally or something like that. So I was just painting, having fun. And the last page here is just like a stripy page. So I must have just been using the paint that's left over because I also have a bad habit of squeezing out too much paint. So this, A4 journal, definitely is like very painterly kind of work. But there's a lot of unfinished stuff too. Not every page is complete. So I don't even know if you would call it an art journal, if it's more just like a sketchbooky kind of thingy. And I realize that it's definitely a very different feel to work in a larger size, even though I know A4 for painting isn't really that big. But for me, it is because I think I'm very used to like A5 size and smaller. But A4, yeah, it seemed like, whoa, there's this huge page. And if you do the whole spread, a really big space to fill in. So it was fun, but I don't know if I actually like such a large size. So that's definitely one thing I learned about using this. And you might notice, like, pretty much don't have any other art journal that is so big. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed just taking a peek at this journal. I really appreciate you stopping by and watching. Please like and subscribe if you would like to see more. And if you didn't already know, I am a graphic designer and I am building my community on Ko-fi, so you can check out all the information in the description below if you're interested. I also have a blog at tortagialla.com where I post free digital downloads, so you can go there, download some free digital papers, and use them in your journaling. I really appreciate your support. Thank you again, and until next time, bye.